Good
Bonjour.
Oh, sorry. You want to go bonjour? Thought we have to do French first. French first. All right, French first. Bonjour. What's up, everyone? So today we're gonna do stuff a little differently. Our layout clearly is different. Perfect. I'm gonna change up the environment, change up the energies. So we got Andrew back today, and Chris has some interesting topics we're gonna be talking about today. So I guess Chris, we'll start you off.
Great.
All
All
right.
right.
Hold on a second. Open the blind a bit. Let's get some light. No, the right there. Yeah. Let's see if we get some light here.
Light.
So, that's better.
As we just finished organs, we're going to start talking about everything around you in the way of a social and emotional perspective. I'm going to be calling it the ecoception. Get it? All right, so how it begins. So when you talk about an ecosystem, let's talk about the simple version of one, like the ants. So in an ant's ecosystem, there's a queen, there's the fighters, there's the workers, and there's a few. Humans work the same exact way. It's the only difference is that we are conscious about it. And that is where perception is your ability to recognize what's actually going on. Because if you don't strengthen your perception, you just go about your everyday. Andrew likes to talk about how he's finally working on himself internally. And that's perception working. It's thinking about the way you're thinking and recognizing this. The actual term for the social part is called the social ecological systems. So hard. So we're just going to go with ecosystem, okay? And so let's talk about the reality of what is around you every day. What's naturally around you every day? What would you guys say is naturally around you? The moment you were born, what was around you?
Physical?
Yes, let's go physical.
Parents.
Parents.
100%. You're saying right out of the womb?
Yeah.
We got the whole hospital setting. If you're born there, or if you have a midwife, you're there.
Good. And sometimes it happens that you are giving birth at home. And that's the difference as well. Sometimes people give birth in a tub. That's different.
My sister.
So there's a lot of things that you start to realize affects already from the moment you come out. Also, when you're in your mother's womb, you are living within an ecosystem of its own.
Oh, that's why we say also, coming out of the womb itself or coming out through a cesarean are two different aspects, biologically speaking,
Yes.
as well biochemistry. You know, you're losing all the probiotics. Yes, now they put the placenta, they rub the body with the placenta, but you still don't get the same thing. And if you're looking at it emotionally, you know, that's what I teach also with my courses. There is a emotional aspect to it where this is your fame, this is your moment to come out, and you don't come out through the womb, you're actually coming out through the cesarean. Well, you don't get that moment of, and I don't want to say pleasure, but you don't get that moment of, wow, it's me, it's my time, you know, type of thing. So it's through the actual root, yeah. There's so much
I
connection.
think the real word you're looking for is natural versus scientific.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's consequences to that. And that's why the series, the few episodes I'm going to be leading now are going to be about this. It's recognizing that there is a difference and it does affect you differently. And unless you become consciously aware about it, there's nothing you can do about it. So the first step is awareness, which is why this is an intro to that topic. So good. So hospitals coming out. Now let's move on to the next thing. You get home, who comes visits you?
If you have people.
Good answer. If you have people, right? The more you interact with more people, the more social it becomes. The less interaction, the less social. Hence the story of the wolf and the boy, right?
I just noticed something. Nice beard. Continue.
Thank you. I've been working hard on it.
Both of you, man.
Compliments help. But you know, let's talk about compliments. Let's say you get born, only your two parents, but it's only them. Then, sadly, one of them leaves you, and now you're abandoned. That affects you. Then by yourself, because you're by yourself, what happens next? Who is it that's giving you the affection and comments? Is it your father? Is it your mother? And let's be honest, male energy, female energy, or yin and yang. That's why it needs to have a balance.
Yeah.
If you don't have a balance, that's where you become one higher than the other. And sometimes you feel out of place, out of balance. So when you start recognizing this and you start consciously thinking about the reality of all these things, you become aware. And anything and any topic, the first step is awareness. You can't recognize, there's a problem. What is it? I don't know. No. You know what the problem is. Now what is the solution? What's the path to getting what you need? So great. So let's say that's the worst case scenario. Let's start coming to the other scenario, the other extreme. Because Yin and Yang teaches us there's two extremes.
Yeah.
There's left and then there's right.
And then there's the third extreme. Well, it's not an extreme, but that balance in the middle. So.
Right.
Yeah.
In the moment you get that balance, you're not an extremist,
No.
which is what we want. We don't want extremists. So maybe if you're arguing one argument, you're a bit of an extremist. But anyways, next topic. What happens now? Okay, so that's the worst case. Now let's get to the side where there's more people. Who's there?
Your cousins, your aunts, uncles, all that stuff.
You might have a
Your
sibling.
sibling.
Are we, how old are we right now?
Still at birth.
Just birth.
We're going back in time. We're still young at heart right now.
We're
still
like-
pure.
At the beginning of a human being's ecosystem.
We're still pure right now.
Exactly. Well, how pure can you be, right?
When you come out, you're as pure as possible.
Right. But let's say you come out, then that moment you don't have a father there.
Well, you don't know, right? You're not aware of that until after you get programmed.
Yeah.
You understand that.
And then does
Okay.
your mother start integrating the divine masculine in her way, become
Yeah.
crossed, or is she naturally divine masculine and the father is divine feminine, but now he's missing? Like it's like you see these different nuances. In
Now here's
people
my
and you
biggest
wonder-
question about the program word.
Yeah.
This is very good. You went the way of spiritual, you went on program in the way of society we live in.
And they're both powerful, right?
Very powerful, right? So, for example, you come out, you have mom, you find out dad is not really your real dad, it's not your biological dad, but growing up, society teaches you you have to recognize who your real biological dad is. Or you grew up in a society that says it doesn't matter. What matters is the person who helps you, grows you, and whoever that other person is, you choose if that person matters or not.
Yeah.
But some people will believe it. Hence where the real programming begins. Because your thoughts is a program.
Well, it's what we teach is anything under 7 years old, that's what programs your mind, that's what programs your brain, your movements, everything. So that's why the first 7 years of your life, no matter what you are instilled with through your mother, your father, your aunts, your uncles, your grandfathers, your school system, whatever it is, that's what your values are for the rest of your life, subconsciously.
Now, we're talking right now based on the idea of a city.
Mm.
Let's talk about in the way of the old days. Okay? Hunters and gatherers.
Okay.
You came out, what's the first thing that happens to you? What's the first programming level? Do you have a penis or you have a vagina? That's the first thing. Right? And then right away, and if you look at tribes going on in Africa that have not been affected by society, that in there, you will see it themselves.
Mm.
If you watch this documentary called What is a Woman, you should totally check it out. It's really good. But at one point, he's interviewing people in Africa, and he's asking these simple questions. What is a woman? And they look at us and be like, how do you not know? It's like obvious. They give birth to people, right? That's important. So, coming to the fact that tribal way, in the way that it's not even conscious at much point. And the reason I say that is because they are born, they're living their life, and then they die.
Black is black, white is white.
Exactly. That's the same connection to the idea of a dog is born, a dog gains a pack, follows the pack, someone's the leader of the pack. Sometimes it happens that the dog feels like it should be the pack, so it fights it for the leadership. These are all things at the end of the day that happen naturally. It happens as natural as the bacteria on you, the bacteria within you. What really comes down to this perception of learning is recognizing that the moment your conscience get involved, programming begins, right? When we really want to see the basis of where everything starts, it's in nature.
Yep.
But everything after that it's what built a city, it's what's built this table, and so on and so forth, right? Because you don't see a dog building something, and you don't see other animals building stuff, which is why we've been given that gift.
And it's funny because in the first 2-3 years of our lives, we're actually still in that subconscious mind of our past lives.
Yes.
So it's told, right?
You know, past life is a great word because a bee gets born, does its job, dies, but now a new bee comes in life. And if you look at the divine energy level, it's the same thing, right? It goes from one, it goes to the other. Humans too. The only thing about humans is that we have a level of consciousness, we have a level of awareness. And just found out the UK considers octopus self-aware. Fun fact.
8 brains.
And that it knows itself as an octopus.
Yeah.
And in the boys, it's funny that he's making love to one.
Anyways. I gotta watch that. The next episode.
Oh, you didn't watch the next one?
The last one, no, I didn't
Ah,
watch.
sorry, that was good.
So,
Anyway.
no, the octopus one I watched.
Yeah. So, you know, that's where the ecosystem becomes something that we should learn about. Because that's when you realize, wait a minute, is McDonald's good for me? Wait a minute, is an electric car actually going to save the environment? No, it's built on batteries that are even worse. And if you look into it, Tesla's actually making kids work on it. So that's a whole other argument.
We're going way too deep on that one now.
Sorry, I pull in too much. But
yeah.
so you said it, family, friends, everything. So now you have these two extremes. Now, how do you find balance? Right? On one hand, you had your mom, someone left each other, and let's say it's even worse now, you're part of the system. You've been abandoned there. Then on the other hand, you have so much family, you don't even realize where you begin
No sense
and
of
where
self.
exactly, right? That's extremism. Because sometimes these people only stick with family. They won't even meet somebody out of the family.
So the balance is basically finding yourself. That's where it is.
Yes. Because on that level, we're even talking about the idea that these families arrange who you get married.
Yep.
Right?
That's-
So not only is your love life chosen for you, everything, your job, everything.
Is it by what's the word I'm looking for? Is it divinely directed in that direction, or is it by design? Because the only think about it is the concept of that family tight knit unit being your world. Was it like anthropologically speaking? Is it created because at one point hunting and gathering was seen as more dangerous and less stable, and as the society evolved, the rules and created by brilliant men and also like manipulative men was to create safety for the group, or is it just a natural evolution of how humans think?
I love that you brought that up. And the answer is in fear.
Okay, fear of
And
missing
that's
out.
where you're right in the way that if you look at these people in the documentary, you see that they have a leader, they follow the leader, they all have their jobs, they know what they're doing, right? But none of them are trying to manipulate another.
What he said, this guy.
Well, that's, he didn't ask them their spiritual questions,
Oh.
but at the end of the day, a tribe works to make the tribe survive.
Yes.
While in a society like ourselves, is it really to make everyone survive, or is it you're a prophet? And after COVID, we know the answer. But the point is two extremes on that itself. And that's where the series of episodes we're going to have are going to be based on this. We're right now opening the conversation, and we're going to really target in to these topics, such as, is it divine or is it not divine? And at some level it is, and some level it's not. Because a family who truly believes in the divine, whatever the religion might be, they are going to see that their mishaps, their good fortune is because of it. Then you're going to find other people who are not going to believe that. They're going to say, no, it's because of hard work. It's because I did something with myself. It's not because someone gave me luck. It's because I worked my ass off.
Growth of the ego. Yeah.
So, and that in itself becomes something, right? Because you got to ask yourself a major question. What made the ego? Was it our consciousness? The Because a dog doesn't have an ego,
So
right?
I don't believe it's conscious. I think it's. I don't believe it's subconscious. I think it is the conscious level.
Exactly.
And,
Right.
and it comes down to that programming before you just said.
So
And
then-
that's where the divine question comes out. Was it divine? Was it the mind of itself developing it? Because at the end of the day, when you really look at it, why rules even exist other than safety? There's no other reasons for rules.
100%.
Rules are there because at the end of the day, I don't want X to hurt A.
Yeah.
Because A is my sibling, but X is somebody else's sibling, so I don't want them to hurt. So now there's a rule.
So is the only way to heal, because obviously, like you said, this will lead to a massive confusion if there's like loss of identity throughout the majority of people.
Which is what the series is about. Ecosystem.
the only way out self-love and then being axed on servitude? Like knowing what your boundaries and your needs and limits are within self-love, but then a mind that eventually directs towards servitude permits a society to be
The answer
stable.
lies in the idea of limitless and limits.
Okay.
Recognizing your flaws, but recognizing the limitless of your strengths. The
Okay.
moment you find those two, you find balance. And the moment you find that balance, you're limitless.
Then you'll probably end up in your place in the world. So then if
Exactly.
you're divinely related to what you were made to do, it will just flow from there.
Exactly. There's a lot of people in the world that say your worst times lead to your greatest times.
Yeah.
For me, that individually, I have dyslexia, so my worst time was in elementary school, and now I'm at the highest in the way that I'm advocating, making comment about it, and I'm doing a lot of stuff about it, even where my career has led me into behavior understanding. So that was me being born with it. That's something important in itself, because in a tribe, why did you screw up? I kill you now. It's as simple as that. It's not that, oh, let's find you a good job that you can work at it. No. You screwed up, you're dead. Right? And that's one extreme. So, I think that's enough time for now.
That's a good intro, I guess. We'll talk more next week and then prolong our sessions with the
Ecosystem.
Yeah.
Of the human being. Because ecosystem
There's a lot.
It's everything, right?
Depends what you're talking
The
about.
earth itself is an ecosystem in the way that the water works with the land, works with the volcanoes, and they're all working together. But then there's the fact that we as humans have an ecosystem. And the real question is, that will lead this series, is what controls an individual, a human being's ecosystem?
Where have you planted yourself?
Yeah.
Hmm?
Where have you planted
Well,
yourself?
that's the point of this. So I just planted the seed actually on the topic.
Very
Now
nice.
you have to keep
It was nice
in
to listen.
tune to watch the rest.
Nice to listen to you guys today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, hopefully you'll be there more often with this ecosystem because I'm sure we have a lot to share with each other.
I'm just
100%.
like the schmo kind of sitting in on it, but it's nice to hear the guys who work in the field and just kind of be able to listen sometimes too.
Agreed.
But you're friends, it's just nice to be there.
Agreed. And friendship is a massive
Very
ecosystem,
Yeah.
which we'll do next week.
So before we go, July 13th, we're gonna keep promoting it, but July 13th, Cabalas is having an open house. We're gonna have a few people like Chris, who's gonna be giving some sessions, some 10-minute tidbit sessions of what he does, and we're gonna have some others doing the same thing. And we're gonna have some activities, or at least try to have some activities at the gym. We're gonna have some coffee and some finger foods as well. So hopefully we see you guys there. Spread as much, not only love, but spread the word as much as possible to help us as well. We want to try and get as many people as possible. It would be nice to see a whole bunch of faces again. So yeah, it's going to be July 13th from 5 to 9 p.m. So hope to see you guys all there. And on that note, we care. Ciao guys.
Oh, you guys went slow.